So the student that we're talking about today, well, there's at least one in every classroom. Yep, I'm talking about that kid who just sits there and doesn't work. The one who needs constant cajoling to put pencil to paper and just get started. In some cases, there's an attitude problem, and the student is disengaged from school in general. And in other cases, the student just lacks focus or self-discipline. Though this is a really common problem that happens in pretty much every classroom in America, there isn't any clear-cut solution. Obviously, you want to make the work as meaningful and authentic and relevant as you can, and you want to build rapport with students. But there are some kids who just aren't going to focus and get their work done, no matter how much of a personal connection you've tried to make with them, or how much choice you've given in the assignment, or how potentially fun or meaningful it might be. I remember doing some instructional technology coaching at a middle school in the Bronx, and the math teacher and I had worked together to create this end-of-unit project for calculating percentages. This project ticked all the 21st century learning boxes. We had developed it with student input. We gave kids lots of choice in both the topic and the tech tools they were able to use. We had broken everything down step by step so every student was prepared to be successful and had accountability and had purpose. I mean, this was a model project. It was probably the best one that I've ever made. And still, about a fifth of the class just did not want to do the work. They would switch over to watching YouTube videos every chance they got. Or they'd mess with the computer settings so that the screen would flip upside down. Or they'd switch around all the keys on the keyboard so that the wrong letters were in different places. Or they would rename all the files on the desktop something inappropriate. The second we turned our backs, this is what happened. There was nothing that we could do to make calculating percentages as interesting to those kids as Googling photos of Nicki Minaj. There just wasn't. We had made the assignment as engaging and meaningful as it could ever possibly be, and there were still some kids who just didn't care. So I want to say right up front that a student's refusal to work is not always the result of a poorly planned lesson, or a disengaging lesson, or the failure of the teacher to establish rapport. I know this directly contradicts what a lot of experts believe, but I don't think student disengagement is a problem that can be 100% solved for every student. A great teacher can minimize the number of kids that this happens with, and that's the goal we should be striving for. But I want to be real with you. It requires a Herculean amount of patience and energy and effort, and frankly, not everyone possesses that. Teachers are tired. They have a lot on their plates. And there just comes a point sometimes when I think you have to accept that you have done what you can do to make the classroom culture and the lessons as strong as you possibly can, and not blame yourself when a student doesn't pull his or her own weight. I've just seen too many talented, dedicated teachers burn out trying to get a kid to care, and it leaves them with no energy left for the kids who do care. So here's what I do in situations where the student refuses to work. Now, I'm going to assume that you have already modified the assignment, clarified the assignment. You've considered all the obvious interventions here. We're talking about the students who this is a problem for them every single day. And of course, the student's grade and their grade level, their personality, and the root cause of why they're not working, all of that will have an effect too. But for the purposes of a 15-minute podcast here, I'm going to sum this up in 4 basic steps. The first thing that I normally do is just encourage the kid in a lighthearted way. So don't make a big deal out of it. Don't get all worked up. Definitely don't escalate the situation. It's just kind of a, hey, you can do this. Let's get you started kind of thing. So I stay upbeat. Don't show that I'm frustrated. Don't get discouraged and just say, okay, great. You're logged in or you got your name on your paper, whatever it is. What's the next step? And point the kid toward getting started. So at this point, I'm acting like I believe the child is actually going to do the work this time. If that doesn't work, then I try to find out what the problem is in an empathetic way. So I'll say, I notice you're still not writing. Is this difficult for you? Is there anything I can help with? And I'll say this quietly while kneeling down or sitting so that I'm at the eye level of the student. I try to give the kid a chance to express any kind of frustration or anything that's bothering him or her. And it's surprising actually how many times kids will open up. And sometimes we can talk through it in just a minute or so and they can get at least a little bit done at that point. If that doesn't work, then I explain the natural consequences that will happen. So this might be the second, third, maybe fourth time I've walked past the student's desk at this point, and I'll just say, you need to get started or you're going to run out of time. Let's go. Or you need this paragraph finished by 10:15. If it's not done, that's going to affect your grade. So what part can I help you with? Are you ready to work on your own, or do you want me to stay here and help you? So I'm still not upset. I'm still not showing frustration at this point, but my tone is very serious. There's no more smiling now. There's no more, just trying to make light of the situation. It's serious. I'm calm, but I mean business. And if that doesn't work, then I just let the student experience the consequences, and I'll talk to him or her about it. So this is something that's best done one-on-one too. So I'll just pull the child afterwards or while the other kids are working on something else and just say, I'm going to have to give you a 0 for this because there's nothing on your paper. And that's going to pull down that B that you got the other day, which is super disappointing because I know how much effort that you put into that assignment. So what can we do next time to make sure that you're able to get the assignment done? So it's those 4 basic steps. Encourage in a lighthearted way. Try to figure out what the problem is if that doesn't work. Try to explain the natural consequences that are going to happen. And if that still doesn't work, then you just got to let the chips fall where they may. And the kid has to experience some consequences. And you repeat this process like every single day. You never stop returning to step number 1 and encouraging that student without making a big deal, showing that you believe she or he is going to get the work done today. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. Today, I believe you're going to do it. How can I help you? So keep going back to that. Keep giving the kid opportunities to talk every single day. What's going on? Is there something that I can do to help you with? Is there something that's bothering you? Try to keep connecting with that kid every day. And beyond that, let the natural consequences happen. So I told you there's no magic solution here. You just can't force a kid to care. And you can't force a kid to work. The only attitude that you can control is your own. So let's talk about that. I know that you're under a lot of pressure to get kids to meet the learning standards. I know it's you who's accountable for their choices and their test scores, and that is massively frustrating. But if you focus on that, you will burn out, and then you won't be able to properly teach the rest of the class who does want to learn. I want you to spend less effort on trying to force kids to care and lecturing them about their futures and nagging them to take responsibility for their work, because 95% of the time, it's not effective and it only serves to wear you out. So instead, I want you to channel all that wasted energy into inspiring the kids who want to work and create a trickle-down effect in your classroom. Don't plan a lesson thinking about that kid who hates everything that you do. Plan it for the 5 kids who love everything you do, and for the 15 kids who could be brought on board if they notice enough enthusiasm from the others. Hook in those 5 kids. Focus on them. That's what keeps your energy level high. That's what's going to make you a good presenter as a teacher, right? Is if you find those people in your audience who are really into the presentation that you're doing. Really hook them in, draw in the majority of the class, and make it irresistible to the others to do the work. Now, does this work every time with every kid? Of course not. But it will keep the energy and the interest level high in the room so that the kids are more likely to participate, or at least not be as disruptive in their lack of participation. Because here's the thing with the kids who refuse to work. They will cause you to get jaded and cause you to refuse to work too. In fact, there are some of you who are listening to this right now who are already tuned out. You decided before I even said a word in this episode that the suggestions I was going to give you were not going to work with that kid. You'd already decided I was going to give you the same old suggestions you've already heard and tell you to do all the things that you've already tried, and none of it was going to help. You see, you've turned into that kid. You've checked out. You've already decided you're not going to learn anything, and so there's no point in trying. Instead, you're going to sit there and you're going to mentally criticize the person who's trying to help you and think of all the reasons why what she's saying is irrelevant. You see, you have more in common with that kid than you think you do. And as you've seen from the results that that kid has gotten, it's a very dangerous path to go down. It's not just the kid who's impacting the whole class's learning. It's you. It's your unwillingness to enter the room each day with an open mind. That same open mind that you want your students to have, ready to soak up wisdom, ready to try things even if they're hard, ready to keep going even if it seems unlikely that you'll be successful. You have to have that attitude too. And you can't control anyone but yourself. If you spend your day trying to control another person instead of inspiring them to control themselves, you're going to get nothing but frustration. The key to getting kids to work is not giving them more serious consequences or bribing them. There's no cute little trick you can do to flip on the switch of motivation. Motivation is not powered by electricity. It's like a fire. It starts with a tiny little spark, and you have to be watching for it with these disengaged kids. You have to protect that spark like your life depends on it. Breathe the air of life on that spark. Shelter it from anything that would keep it from growing. Add fuel to the fire, and then fan the flames. Tend that fire daily so that it doesn't go out. Now that is your job. That's why you became a teacher. Not to write referrals and detentions and to take away recess from kids who hate school and refuse to work. So stop looking for the magic punishment or the magic reward, and don't even depend on trying to make your curriculum so authentic and exciting that the kids want to buy in. If you can do that, great, but the reality for most of us is that we have to teach things that aren't particularly exciting and that the kids aren't going to be that interested in, no matter how we dress it up. It's you that has to be authentic and exciting. An inspired teacher can make calculus or history or grammar or any topic thrilling just by their own energy. When I think back on the best teachers that I had, the subject that they taught was irrelevant. I thought spelling was boring, but my high school English teacher used to make up the craziest sentences when he gave us spelling tests. And I couldn't help but kind of look forward to those tests just a little bit. It was him. It was his personality, the rapport that he'd built with me that inspired me to do the work when I didn't want to. So stay focused on inspiring your students. Don't focus on whether they're actually inspired. Remember, you can only control yourself, not anyone else. You do whatever it takes for you to be inspired, for you to bring that inspiration every day. And let the energy of your classroom be such that the students who don't buy into the lessons are really missing out. In your room, it's going to be cool to have a good attitude and to work hard. You are the magic solution that you've been looking for. You have that magic inside you. Now you just need to go and share it. I'm going to leave you with a motivational quote for the week ahead that I call the takeaway truth. And today's truth is from Rumi, who wrote, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself." This week, I want you to focus on changing yourself and your attitude and where you focus your energies. And trust that this is the way you will make a change in the world, starting right in your classroom with the students that you help each day. Have a fantastic week. You can do this. And remember, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it.